Yo guys, this is Reinhardt and this video is going to be about Demonology Pressure Master. I'm going to be telling you how to be effective as a Demonology in PvP. I scored 3.8 second version of Swifty's video as a Demonology, and I don't even have a heroic weapon, or I have still had one contender's piece. So there it is. So anyway, this video I'm going to be actually talking about how to be a very effective Demonology, how to set up a proper burst, how to set up a proper kills, and how to generate demonic fury, and the overall how mechanics of a Demonology work. So let's get started right away. Okay, so the very first one, the Demologies, how they work. In Cataclysm or previous expansions, we used to have a Metamorphosis as a long cooldown in roughly like 3 minutes, and then every time you would use your abilities, or they will actually have a chance to proc the lower cooldown on the Metamorphosis. Well, in this expansion, actually it doesn't work that way. It's only a 10-second cooldown, and so what you do is you generate demonic fury, and then once you go into meta phase, you basically use a demonic fury to set up the burst, and you do a lot more damage. And a lot more damage comes from your mastery, which is increases your overall damage for you and your pet by 15%. But once you're in the meta phase, it actually increases your damage dealt by 44%, which is triple the initial amount. And basically this is how it goes. You generate demonic fury and then you set up a really good burst. So let's actually go through how to generate demonic fury. So the very first one is your corruption. It is one of the really good ways to generate demonic fury because it does generate 4 per tick. For one target it's not that major, but if you have multiple targets to put a corruption on, you will get those multiple procs at the same time, especially if you're fighting, let's say, dueling mages who pop mirror images, fighting against the pet classes in duels, or even fighting in RPGs and you tap corruption or putting a lot of corruptions on. Now, with that said, corruption is not gonna be your main demonic fury generator. Another way to generate your demonic fury in a single target fight is of course your pet, because it does generate a 12 demonic fury from the Legion strike. It costs energy, so there is some sort of like internal cooldown for it, but still it's not that major, to be honest. Unfortunately, your Fellstorm does not generate any demonic fury, which kinda actually sucks. And then your stun also doesn't generate demonic fury, and your charge. So that's about it for the pets. The Felguard is actually one of the best minions to use for Demonology. It's their specific pet for a reason, because it does have a 30-second stun. So, and I'm gonna talk about the pets later on down this video. Now, the other way, a good way to generate your demonic fury is to actually use Hand of Gul'dan. But just use one proc of it, and it actually gonna generate a lot of demonic fury because it does tick per second. It's AoE, so the more targets you hit, the more ticks of demonic fury you get. It gives you a really fast Soulfire cast, and it also generates 2 demonic fury per second, well, per that tick. Well, if you think about it this way, that if you hit multiple targets, you will generate tons of demonic fury. Soulfire cast is decent, but it's not the requirement and it's not major. But it does proc your imps. The ability that you take and is available to you from glyphing Glyph of Imp Swarm. And when the imps attack, they actually do generate some of the demonic fury as well. But the biggest thing about the Soulfire is that actually when you go in the meta phase, it will actually hit much harder. So I usually like to use my Soulfire procs in the combat when I actually pop the meta phase, but it does cost 120 demonic fury, and it is rather costly, I would say. So now there's a few things that people try to do. They try to cast a Shadow Bolt, and that's actually a big no-no. If you get locked out of, you get locked out of the Shadow School, and which is basically most of your CC, and it's plus the corruption. It's really not a good school to get locked out of from. And it does generate 25 demonic fury whenever you cast it. The unfortunate part about it is that it's castable. It's 2.38 second castable, and try to get a cast off of 2.3 seconds when the melee is riding you really hard. Even though you can actually juke his Mind Freeze, Pummel, or whatever it is, you still have to go with us through a lot of stuns, and there's a lot of way a melee can actually shut you down and not let you get that cast. Now in the group fights though, and the Soulfire, like I said, is usually to set up the burst in the demo form. But one of the best ways to actually generate it is also simply put a Fell Flame, because it generates 15 runic power. It hits for 14k compared to Shadow Bolt that hits for 2.2k. But if you think about it this way, if you Fell Fire, it also extends your corruption, and because it hits for 14k and it's instant cast, not 2.38 seconds cast, the damage of it actually comes relatively very close to if you'd have cast the Shadow Bolt yourself. Shadow Bolt is a little bit ahead, but not by much. But in that case, it is instable and it gives you 15 Demonic Fury. And that's for single target. And for AoE, believe it or not, but Hellfire, it's this one over here is the best way to do it. If you Hellfire and you hit multiple targets at the same time, look at this. I'm generating right now anywhere from 25 per tick, because I'm hitting a multiple targets. And even though if you can get lagged out of a Hellfire, it's not a big deal, because you're gonna have your CC available to you. Okay, so that's for Demonic Fury generation, and that's what you need to do. A lot of bad Demologs, what they try to do is they try to set up the kill with the out of form abilities, and that's not the right way to go for it. The right way to go for it is generating it out of form so you can use it in the form. So now let's switch to the form. Okay, now let's take a look at the demo form abilities. So Metamorphosis. The first one you get is a melee. You just mealing a target, and for about roughly, I don't know, like couple k damage, 4 to 5k I believe. Let me actually check it on target damage how much it, because I'm not sure. Yeah, it's couple k damage. It's not much, but your Shadow Bolt becomes instant cast and it hits for 16k, which is actually a really good filler, to be honest, in your damage. For example, if you cast a Soulfire into the Shadow Bolt into the melee, you basically, I just did roughly about 54k damage, including my melee on this target dummy, which is huge. Okay, getting out of the form, generating some of the Demonic Fury back. The other really good ability is when you go to Metamorphosis, you can actually do a Doom, Curse of Doom. And it's basically the old Curse of Doom from Cataclysm, where it ticks very slow, like every 14 seconds, but it ticks for quite a bit numbers. I actually got crit up to 40-45k with the Curse of Doom, and it's actually, you see this 23k damage? That was a Curse of Doom damage, and it's actually pretty damn amazing. But of course there's a lot of people who can decurse, so in PvP the value of it actually jumps down unless you're fighting a comps that don't have a decursor, like Holy Paladin, Discrease don't have a decursor, even though they're healers. So in that way the Curse of Doom actually will rack up quite a good number of damage, and I think it's about to proc again out here. Yeah, 2377. Okay, and that's without any cooldown pops, by the way. Now another thing is, when you go Meta's phase, your Fell Flame becomes a Void Raid, and it's basically 5k nuke, and it's AoE damage, and it's actually pretty garbage, to be honest. So don't you ever think of using it unless you want to cleave a little bit, but even cleaving is really not major. In all honesty, use a Demonic Fury to use a Hellfire, and the Hellfire becomes an instant cast damage, and it actually will do more damage and cast a little bit less per tick than actual Void Raid. Let me see how much it casts per tick. 25, and it hits for like 5k versus 40 that hits for 5.5k. So, and the best part about Hellfire in a meta phase is that not only it is you don't have to do anything, you just activate it and it will automatically do damage. You don't have to do anything about it. It's actually going to be auto-castable, and it's not channeling. That's the best part about Hellfire in meta phase. Okay, let me take a look. Alright, so now for the last one we have, and last but not least, and it's probably one of the most amazing things about the Demologs, and this is how I set up the burst on the Swifties video, is actually Chaos Wave. Your hand of cooldown becomes a Chaos Wave, and if you see the tooltip says 41,000 damage, and it does trigger Molten Core, which is a snare. So let's take a look at it. 41, 41, 41, and that's without any cooldown spot. It's pretty damn amazing. That's the best way to set up your burst, nothing else. And it actually double Chaos Waves can also do an AoE snare of 60%, which is pretty damn awesome, I would say. Okay, let me generate some of the Demonic Fury back again. So, the biggest burst you do is you generate everything. You generate your Demonic Fury, and then when you're ready to do a full swap, you need to wait for your 2 Hand of Gul'dan procs, and after that, there you go. I have 2 Hand of Gul'dan stacks, so I'm gonna go Meta Phase, pipe my thing, stun this dummy, do a 2 Chaos Wave, stun this dummy again for another 2 seconds, then I'm gonna coil this dummy and I'm gonna do a couple Shadow Bolts. And this is the stuff that can literally global people from 100% to 0. Demolocks are incredibly strong. If they're played in the right hands, they can be very, very powerful, both in arena and RBG. I haven't done a lot of arenas this season, but I did get up to 20 to 50, I believe, or something like that, as a Demolock. Well, I played both Affliction and Demolock to 20 to 100. Oh, I'm sorry, 20 to 39. So, okay. So that's about it. The last thing I want to tell you guys is your imps. They benefit from your mastery. You can summon them every 2 minutes, which makes it an incredible cooldown. And the best part about it is that they generate a tons of Demonic Fury. So I'm just gonna pop the imps on this guy out here, and I'm gonna pull my pad back. And look at how much Demonic Fury they generate. They generate about 25 Demonic Fury per attack. And I believe they're also, you can actually command them to switch the targets. And they persist until they do a number of damage to a target. And they benefit from your mastery, from all your procs. And the best part about them is they do give you Molten Core. And the Molten Core becomes an incredible ability when you cast Metamorphosis. I believe it could up to 55k for me, and it's a guaranteed critical too every time you cast it. Okay, now that we figured the Demolocks sort of like a rotation where you don't have to cast a lot, rely on your pets, rely on your corruption ticks, focus on utilities, and you will do amazing things. That's it about for a Demolock Pressure Master. I'm gonna make another one, is Demolock Utility Master, and I'll show you everything you need to know about the Demolock's utilities. And the Demolock's utilities are incredible. You guys absolutely have no idea how amazing their utilities really are. So that's it guys for this video. Thank you for watching, everybody, and do svidaniya.